Hello everyone! I am so happy to finally be uploading this video. It has taken a minute for me to actually put it together and get it uploaded on the channel. A few things. One, this video was recorded way back in July during the Comic-Con voice actor panel for Dragon Age The Veilgurad, and there are a few things I need to say that maybe wasn't said during the video. One, during the time of this recording, the Voice Actor Guild has gone on strike, meaning all of the voice actors who put in their time and talent into this game that is coming out very soon are literally on strike. I want people to know that we, especially everyone you see in the video, because I'm not alone in this video, we support the voice actors. We believe in allowing them to work and be protected from AI. Even though it's not said in the video, we stand with all of the incredible talented people who gave up their time, energy, and talent to give us, to add their skills to the Veilguard. I hope that makes sense. Another thing, there will be spoilers. Not massive spoilers, but little spoilers spread throughout the video. There's no real time stamp for it. There'll be timestamps in the video description, so you can just kind of skip around, but there will be spoilers. They're very minor. This is before any of the newer stuff we've been seeing online, so if you're still someone who's trying to avoid any and all spoilers, you've been warned. As I said before, I'm not alone in this video. There's me and 4 other guests. We're all kind of talking about Dragon Age The Veilgurad, our experiences, what we like, theories. It's just kind of a free-flowing conversation. I guess that's the best way to put it. So with that said, I really hope you guys enjoy this video. Like I said, it took me a minute to get it together, only because I've been so busy, and I really hope you guys enjoy it. And please be sure to follow, subscribe, and support all of my guests. They are incredible, wonderful people, and I hope y'all have a great day. Hello everyone, welcome to my channel, Micah Let's Play, and guess who I am?
Micah!
Because who else would I be? And as you can see, I am not alone today. I am joined by some very fabulous individuals. And guess what? You've all been just promoted. You are now my elite employees. Give yourselves a round of applause.
I'm leaving. See you guys. Bye.
Right. And so what I want to do, I want to allow these lovely individuals to introduce themselves and their channels and all the fun stuff, and all their channel links will be in the video description down below. So with that said, I'm just going to go to who is to my right, which is my brother Shay. So,
Woo.
Do you think?
Hello everybody, yeah, XEI here, or Shay, and I run XEI Gaming, and it's a variety channel of gaming. I'm all over the place. I do some variety channels as well for anime and manga, and I delve into that, and it's very exciting stuff. I like exploring and storytelling and character development and whatnot, so I'm very excited for Dragon Age Veilgurad coming up. I'll leave it at that, and we'll talk about it when we start talking about it.
And so I'm going to go to who's right beneath me, which is my girl Callista.
Oh, hello. My name is Callista. I am normally found over on Callista Plays, where I, very much like Shay, variety gaming channel. I tend to focus on RPGs or, puzzle, mystery games, that kind of thing. I'm a massive Dragon Age fan, and I am really looking forward to Veilguard and just getting into the nitty-gritty of the storytelling. So yeah. That's me.
And so with that said, I'm going to lasso it on over to the man in the lovely shirt, Mr. Mikey.
Hello, so my name is Mikey. I stream variety games on Twitch. I will, of course, play whatever I feel like playing in a particular day, or if there's something new that comes out that intrigues me, I'll be playing that, so I'll probably be streaming The Veilguard when that comes out day one. I also am a community manager. I do the community work for a tabletop role-playing broadcast network, so we play games such as D&D, we play Lancer, we play Cyberpunk, we've played Call of Cthulhu, we've played Candela Obscura, we've played Kids on Bikes, Kids on Brooms. There's so many things we've played in our backlog, and we are looking in the future of what I might be running in the future as a Mass Effect game, so we'll see what's coming up. I am incredibly looking forward to seeing how much trauma Dragon Age The Veilgurad gives out to us, like the last previous games have, because that's what we're here for. We're not here because we enjoy it. We're here because we hate ourselves.
Oh my goodness, I love it. And last but certainly not least, the lady with the Aurora Borealis or the fade shimmering through. We got my girl Roma.
Hi everyone, I am Roma Haz. I occasionally stream on Twitch under the same name. I also have the YouTube channel Roma Tempts Fate. However, my YouTube presence is more being a guest on other people's channels. So I have been a guest. I am currently a guest on Micah's channel. I've been a guest on Angelarts' channel a few times. I also run an online reality game on Facebook called Press Start. So it's based on video games, and I just finished my first season, so cool. That's a lot of fun. So looking forward to Dragon Age Veilgurad. I just finished my canon run of Inquisition earlier today. So I'm ready for it.
You caught up finally.
I've been caught up. I just lost all of my game files when my last computer crashed. So yeah.
Oh no. That is literally the worst. Okay, guys. Well, as you can see, it's no secret we're talking about Veilguard. Now, before we get started properly, we are aware of the controversy that surrounds this game, and honestly, we don't care. We don't know her. And with that said, let's talk about the fun. So first on the docket are the voice actors, even though it probably says something else for everyone else, but I'm switching it up because I'm that person. It's the voice actors. So recently, the Veilguard released all of the voice actors for this game, and honestly, I am absolutely blown away. But I mean, it's nice to know I do, but what do you guys feel? How are y'all feeling about this?
I kind of wish Hark was here, because I don't actually remember if I don't think I checked this, but Hark used to have a image of one of the characters that one of the main Rook actors plays. Sorry, yeah, he used to have an image behind him on his wall of awesome. I would have loved to have him here so we could do a little quiz. But since he's not here, and he will probably watch this in the future anyway, that is Alex Jordan. Alex Jordan used to voice Asher Forrester in the Telltale Game of Thrones game. He's also done Sherlock Holmes. He's done what else? Mr. Hands in the new Cyberpunk DLC, if you've played that. He is the Alters. I don't remember the actual name of the character, but he's the main character in the Alters, which means he's playing multiple versions of himself because that's the concept behind that game. He is in Wuthering Waves as Jihan, I think is the character's name. I don't play that game. It's one of those Holoverse games, I think.
Gotcha games.
Yeah, basically. But he's also now Rook in The Veilguard, which is someone who I'm really excited for, because in a way I kind of hope he does his like really northern, like from the north accent as Rook, so we can hear Asher Forrester again. And I'm desperate for it. Honestly, I'm quite desperate for it.
I knew some of Alex Jordan's work, and I knew he had played a character called Forrester. I didn't realize it was Asher Forrester from Telltale's Game of Thrones. I thought it was like, a different Forrester. So I'm now just like, oh my god, for the North. Come on, Northern.
Iron from ice.
I'm from the north of England. I don't have the accent though. So I'm just like, please, our people.
Well, to be fair, that accent is very specifically Yorkshire, because like that was the reason. I'll tell you exactly why everyone from the north has a Yorkshire accent. It's because Sean Bean refused to do anything else. Sean Bean was like, I'm not going to put an accent on. I don't care. And because like it was Game of Thrones first season, and he was being paid to be there, and he was like, I don't care if this. He didn't know how long he'd be there, so he was like, I'm just not going to do an accent. So everyone from the north is from Yorkshire now. Which is very
the
fun.
North remembers.
The North does remember.
That is the Rook that's in the gameplay reveal.
Yes.
Right? Okay, that's what I figured, but just wanted to make sure.
Oh yeah. I mean, all of the Rooks that we get are amazing. Like, also Erika Ishii. Like, real talk. When I saw them as one of the Rooks, I was shooketh. I was shooketh with joy. But Shay,
I have no context over any of the voice actors. I saw some thumbnails of people's faces, and I was like, I haven't connected any of this yet. I'm still slightly afraid of like spoiling things. I know the voice actor stuff won't spoil anything for me, but it's like that rabbit hole that you go into, and then things just unlock, right? And so I'm not sure what I'm worried about, because it's like we're all getting the teasers at the same time. We're all learning about stuff at the same time, so it's like I'm not sure. But it's or maybe it's the controversy. I don't want to fall into the rabbit hole of like having a bias like created for me. I would rather go into it like blind from a sentiment perspective, instead of being, you know what I'm saying. I don't have to belabor this point, but it's so when I saw your message about the potential controversy going out there, I was like, oh no, this is what I'm talking about. Like, I don't want any connection points. I just want the game, you know. So yeah, I've got a bit of a blind spot. But I'm here to hear, like, if people have the connection points of what other characters they played. I am curious about it, because I'd like to make the connections, especially to the other BioWare games, if that's possible. Do we have anyone that's carried over, or like from any of the other properties inside the BioWare IPs?
Well, there's two. There's Ike Automati. He's voice acting my husband Davrin. So yes, but he also did Jarvis. I think I'm saying his name wrong.
Javik.
Javik. Yeah. In Mass Effect 3. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh damn.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and then Lace Harding also voices my wife, Dr. Liara Tassoni.
Damn.
So
Okay.
yeah. So just that alone is just.
Okay.
Me personally, I'm super happy for it. Then we also have, I want to say, Jun. I don't want to say their last name incorrectly, but they are also a non-binary voice actor, and they're voice acting a non-binary character, which is Tosh. So for me, I don't know. I love the representation on display, like constantly. And I think it's so beautiful. And I love these voice actors. And then also we have the incredible Matthew Mercer. And he should have no introduction, because this man is
who?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Who is this? He's new, right?
Who's this?
Yeah.
Matt Mercer.
Some unknown voice actor from wherever.
Yeah.
It's nice that they're supporting the little guys, the little voice actors, you know?
Go BioWare. And I believe he's voice acting the lovely skeleton that we've all come to love. Named
Nice.
Landry.
Okay.
Yes. And I want to say it was on Gildatharin, I don't know. Forgive me, Katie. If you're seeing this, you know I love you. On her channel, she got sound bites of kind of what all the actors sound like, because we don't really know what anybody sounds like outside of Davrin and Balara, of course, Solus
Rooks,
and
I guess.
Yeah, some of the Rooks. But it's really cool when you hear what the potential voice is, especially when it comes to Emmerich. I have never played any of the games Emmerich, the voice actor for Emmerich, has done, but from what I hear, it sounds really good. He sounds more cartoony in the other game, but I'm really excited to kind of dive into that. But when it comes to the other Rooks, do you guys know of their works? Because I'm a little unfamiliar with the other two. I
have IMDb open right now, so I'll tell you. It is Jeff Berg is one of them.
Mm-hmm.
You go ahead, Callista.
Could I just say, Bryony Corrigan? She's the English Rook. I'm pretty sure I've seen her on stage. A few years ago, she did the show that goes wrong. She played Sandra, which is that is one of my favorite stage plays. I absolutely love it. It is filled with slapstick, and the whole premise is that it's a show that goes wrong. You kind of like the title gives away what happened.
Yeah.
And it is hilarious. And like I said, I'm pretty sure that I was at the I was there for the run that Bryony Corrigan was doing, and she was phenomenal. She was a fantastic actress. I'm only familiar with like her acting work. I've also been told that she was in Baldur's Gate 3. I haven't played Baldur's Gate 3.
She's Blaze, Savora, Aaron Soul.
9 Fingers.
Yeah. I'm just looking at her. Yeah, she did the show that's gone wrong. She did 12 episodes of it.
Look at that.
from 2019 to 2021. I can't really find much about Jeff Berg that's like interesting. He was in Persona 3 Reloaded. He was Bebe's voice in that. I don't know. I've not played Persona 3 Reloaded yet. He was in both the previous NBA 2K games. He was in Squared Love. He was a few additional voices in Miles Morales, Spider-Man Miles Morales, like the small expansion that came out for that.
Yeah.
He was in Anthem, which is the only thing I think in here that's also done by BioWare. And he was in Wolfenstein 2: The New Colossus. He was Hoyer Cartwright. And I don't recognize that name, so it mustn't have been a very important character.
Decided. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Cool.
And then the other voice actress, Miss Clark for Knave. I'm sorry. I remember her from True Blood. She played Lilith. She gave me life then. She gives me life now.
I enjoyed True Blood. Yeah.
Yes. Look her up. This woman she's walking elegance. Like, she's so beautiful. She's such I love her voice because her voice is very dry, the way she talks as Neve, so it's very detective-y. And so, you know, it was one of those moments where you pop open the ring box and say, will you? And she'll just say no. But it's okay though. My Rook will persist. But no, again, like, if I'm forgetting someone of the voice talent, because we already know the voice actors for Solus and for Varric are coming back, and we know they're spectacular. We know that the voice actors for the Inquisitors are coming back as well. So I am really excited to see what other voice talent comes back, because the way Karen was talking about this, the game director, she said there's gonna be some killer performances or characters that return. So for me, my fingers are crossed to see names like Dorian and Morrigan pop up. But how do you guys feel about these voice actors? I know, Shay, I know you're a little, you're staying out of it, but how do you guys feel? Are you really excited for these voice actors? Have you heard some of the clips, like with Zach as Lucanus? I'm just
saying.
One thing I
was responding to what Nika was saying about Lucanus. Like, yeah, just say it. You should go listen to him talk.
One thing I actually kind of mentioned to Callista a little while ago was at first I was all in on Erica for my my Rook, but then like I'm not sure how to pronounce her name, the other actress.
Ji Jung Han, is that it? No, that's Balara.
Yeah.
That's Balara. Bryony.
There we go.
Bryony.
So when I first heard that she was cast, I just went on YouTube and I typed in her name and I was just looking for any clips of her speaking, and I saw an interview that she was giving before one of her stage shows, and so I listened to it and I was like, it's not bad, but I think I'm gonna go with Erica. But then I heard her actual like voice acting Nine Fingers in Baldur's Gate 3, and like one thing that's amazing is like interview voices and voice acting voices are very different. So gosh, what's her? I'm blanking on her name. Kala Elizabeth, right? She has this amazing video on her channel right now of all of the voice actors, their normal speaking voices and their voice acting voices, including a couple lines from Veilguard, and she has like brief things, nothing spoilery, just small things of them voice acting. So give that a watch. Listen to all of them, and just really compare the range of these actors. It's actually very impressive. So I'm feeling excited. I'm definitely feeling very excited.
And that's what I'm talking about. So just so you know, for Gildatharin and for Kala Elizabeth, their channel links will be in the video description, as well as the man, the myth, and legend Angelarts will also be in the video description. And there'll be a playlist to other videos where all of us are talking together on the Veilguard. So yes, so I highly recommend that you check that out. But now let's talk a little bit about the San Diego Comic-Con. Have you guys seen a little bit of some of the stuff that we got from there?
So two quick things about the voice acting cast. We know Cassandra's voice actress is coming back. Cassandra Pantagast's voice actress is coming back.
Cool.
And if one of the Inquisition voice actresses are coming back, because the English female Inquisitor is the same voice actress as Specialist Trainer from Mass Effect 3. But there's more returning.
Huh.
See? Amazing what happens when you use the power of the internet. Unlike this guy.
Right.
Well, I knew about the Inquisition voice line for a very long time because I knew that was the same actress, but the IMDb has Cassandra Pantagast's actress listed on it.
Oh, I cannot wait.
I will say, take anything that on IMDb with a grain of salt, because
That's true. They do change it,
especially when it's before that. Because I will never forget when we were waiting for Avatar: The Last Airbender season 3. Some episode summaries came out on IMDb that were all totally false. So yeah, ever since then, before the property is released, I always take anything that's uploaded there with sometimes a block of salt. One of those horse blocks.
Yeah, that's just a pinch, an entire salt lick.
Right? Oh my god. Yeah, I remember that, Roma. We were on the same page. My feelings was hurt. I'm just putting that out there.
Yeah, I was very, very not pleased by that.
No.
But at the same time, though, I think Cassandra coming back is definitely plausible. Given that we saw her with the Inquisitor at the end of Trespasser.
Well, there's also the fact that if she's coming back in my universe, she is the Divine. So
they're gonna have to take that into consideration, right? No matter how they bring this in, like even if it's a small scene, it would make sense, right?
Yeah, because you could have her either be the right-hand woman of the Inquisition, have her be the literal Divine. Or I don't remember what else can happen, because those are the two major things. I think she either stays with the Inquisition or becomes the Divine. Is usually how it works with her. So,
can I hope that Kate Mulgrew comes back. I just want her in every game. She's got such that wonderful, just kind of rumble to her voice. I'm just like, yes, madam. I just want her in some, even if it's like a flashback. Just like her ghost wandering, I'm just like, please, Plymouth, please.
Right? You know what?
Although I will say, I am aware of a character who isn't coming back.
Okay.
Because Steve Valentine, who voices Alistair, he said, I have not been asked to come back. So I don't think Alistair is going to be in the game. That or they've recast his voice, and I'm like,
hopefully not.
Like, Steve hasn't done anything.
Alistair has that thing in Inquisition where he could be in the Void.
Yeah, but
he could literally be in the Fade.
He could also.
But there's also he could also be King of Ferelden. But also
kind of massive.
Like Alistair has such an immense variety of where he can be in the Dragon Age lore because of the choices you make in Origins. That I think it's very difficult to weave him into a story in an entirely different place in the world. Because it's like, well, if he's King of Ferelden, why is he Interventor? Or if he's the leader of the Grey Wardens, why is he Interventor? Or, there's a whole thing there. And I'm like, I'm not surprised he's not been asked to come back. I do miss him not being a major component of Dragon Age because I've been playing Origins again. And I'm like, oh, Alistair, I missed you.
Me too. Yeah, but I mean, it might not be just Interventor, right? Like, I think we're going to be jumping around, or at least that's what I took away, is that there's going to be at least some float between. Now we're going to go back to Ferelden. Maybe that's been overdone, right? And even if he's king, he could probably just send a delegate or something, right, to anything that might be politically based, and
more than likely.
That's what he did in Inquisition. If he was King of Ferelden.
Oh, that's true. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
You got a letter from him and here, we're gonna help you out because you seem like a cool guy.
Yeah, they skipped a lot of. Maybe they'll do another War Room map thing, right, where we get the context of the characters and where they are in the world state based on our decisions, but we're not going to get scenes with them, right? They can save a lot of money with the War Room direction.
I did like the War Room.
Cool.
I like
do
the
like
war
to-
room. I like the war table mechanic. It felt like I was actually like a general trying to plan out moves and stuff, you know?
Right? But I don't think we get something like that this
Yeah.
time. From what I remember from the articles, we'll get something akin to it, like in that ballpark, but it won't be to the level of Inquisition.
Yeah,
Because some
it's
people
going to
didn't
be,
like they didn't like the hours waiting. I mean,
Yeah.
go do a
I mean,
side quest.
I literally used to just put the hours forward on my games console just to get around that, and it worked because it,
Yeah.
you know.
Oh my gosh.
But also, yeah, like they've said that we're doing mission based games like we did
Yeah.
in Mass Effect 1, 2, 3, and arguably Andromeda 2.
Yeah.
But you're not going to get. You're not going to get. You might get a war room style thing where like you can walk into it and like you get letters from people who you've interacted with maybe during missions, but you're not going to be. You probably won't get the whole like looming over a map, like picking things to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the
Well,
way
you
Mass
know-
Effect Andromeda pulled it off, right? So it's not a war room-esque, but the same mechanic of waiting for those missions to end.
Yeah.
Now, do I
Oh, I
care
know
what the
what you're
missions are
talking
all
about,
about?
yeah.
I don't. But I like the idea of like you send people out, and like if there could be a mix of that.
Oh, the Apex, Apex
Yeah.
teams. Yeah, those are pretty fun.
Oh well. Well, we'll just have to
We
see
derailed
when
a
the
little
game comes out. Mm-hmm.
We derailed on our topic, but yeah, I started googling like what this SCCC commentary was all about, just to kind of have some context. So I'm curious to know like what people took away if you watched the actual clips or stuff, or did you read articles? Did you get like what context did you get from the San Diego Comic-Con?
Right now, there's only like summaries, like people live tweeting what happened, and
Okay.
Mhm.
apparently
Oh, okay.
the recordings of the panel will be released later,
Okay.
like official recordings, not
Yeah.
not like shaky phone footage.
Yeah.
Like-
Yeah.
I don't think you're allowed to record in there. I definitely tried for one panel 10 years ago or something like that. They'll stop you. Yeah, you can't be recording in there. So it's good to know. that there's
Yeah,
some
it was
official
the same at TwitchCon. So if you went to a panel, you weren't allowed to record, or if you were recording, you had to have specific permission from both TwitchCon and from the people running the panel.
Okay.
Well, do we have any notes we want to call out? I just pulled out a Reddit thread, and of course I went straight to Lucanus just because.
Just because.
Oh boy.
come
So
on.
I like the context here. So it says the what do you want from me? What do you want from me? It's the voice. Maybe, hopefully, we'll see. It's the look. It's the action. It's the attitude. I like it. So
It's yes. It's yes,
Yes.
Shay.
It's whatever you want to
That's
say.
it.
So we got-
We
so the
get
notes
it.
from-
Attitude.
We get it.
get it.
Everyone here is horny. It's okay. You're among peers here.
Oh man. So the notes for Lucanus is sees assassinations as a job. His VA describes him as having a dangerous mind and uses humor to cope. And I think that's the part of the character that I wasn't expecting, but I like the idea of it, that because the trailer shows us like, you know, the throat slit, and man, that's in the trailer. So
Right.
he definitely kills. This is not we're not being friendly here. But then it's like, how do you get someone like that on a companion team? Like we had Zephyr before, and we know these characters can go in that dark path, right? But
You know
I
what?
just wondered,
This reminds me
how
of?
can we twist that around, even from a romance perspective? Like, and so I like this, that it could be a psychological angle.
I'll give you an answer.
Mm-hmm.
Thane.
Thane. Oh yeah.
Mass
Oh,
Effect
Also
2.
great. Sure.
He was a paid
Oh, yeah,
assassin
breakdown.
who viewed assassinations as a job, but he used a lot of humor, and he was a good
Mhm.
person outside of what he did for a living, because he could separate what he did, like both spiritually and physically, in the way that that he believed in life. But I think that's what it's kind of what they're trying to say there, is that like he maybe can't separate it as well as Thane can, because he still has to use maybe humor and stuff like that to acknowledge the
Offset
fact that he's done bad things. Maybe he's done bad things for the wrong reasons before. And now we're like, you get a very snappy, witty, person who is,
Reflects, right?
yeah, it's a
deflection.
reflex thing. It's like someone will be like, I think you're actually a good person. He'll go, oh, that's a joke. He'll like make a joke, because that's just his way of like trying to avoid acknowledging that he's done bad things, or he doesn't think that of himself.
That's
Speaking
a
of-
cool. Yeah, sorry, I was gonna say, like, it'd be cool if they take that perspective to all the characters, where they have some layer to them, where it's like the more you learn about them, the more you find out that they have these flaws that come out, later in their development. Roma,
Also,
where do
did you
who's the
learn
cool
that
side?
Lucanus is a cook? So not can he can slay in the streets, but he can slay in the kitchen. So just put that out
He
there.
slays and serves.
You be the judge.
Jeez.
No, and that's the one thing I'm really excited about with all the companions, especially seeing the panel. The clips that I saw were very small. The other one I saw was with the woman who speaks for Nave. I want to say Neve, but it's Nave. I have to stick with Nave. She was talking about how, well, it was just a tiny clip, how she was saying how they became like a family. And she said it was really weird because, you know, we were only our voices, and then, you know, they wore the full body suits so they can actually have like realistic movements, the mocap suits. So for me, I want more information on the panel, but like Roma said, it's basically going to be, the video footage is going to be released and we'll be able to have more context to what's being said, because yeah, it really is just little bits here and there. I was trying to get tickets to San Diego Comic-Con, but I couldn't for the life of me. And what makes it sad is that I've never been to a con, and it's always around my birthday, and it would have been the perfect birthday gift to myself.
Nice.
But I just couldn't go. I couldn't go. My feelings are
One
sad.
day.
One day. But what about you guys? Ladies, how are you guys feeling about the panel outside of the little bits that we got?
So just to kind of leapfrog off of what Shay was saying about Lucanus, it's interesting that Lucanus apparently covers up, you know, like, oh, he uses humor to kind of deal with his trauma and that kind of thing. Because in a way that sounds rather similar to what we've been told about Balara. We got a little bit of information about her where she's very optimistic and happy-go-lucky, but it's to cover up the fact that she has suffered, and she's kind of like, well, you shouldn't kind of bog yourselves down in sorrow. You should just keep moving forward and be positive. And part of me's I would quite like to see them take that in a Balara has issues with toxic positivity. Because I think that's not something we kind of get told enough.
Yeah.
You know, the idea of like, because positivity, it's like too much of it can be incredibly toxic. It can be incredibly, you know, damaging. You need to learn how to deal with your grief, your sorrow, your trauma. You can't just like ignore it and be happy. Like you can't just do that forever. So I'm really hoping that we'll be able to, you know, kind of talk to Balara and basically like, hey, let's deal with your trauma. Let's deal with your grief. Like, let's do that. Like, I'm hoping that could maybe be a part of her personal quest. And
that would be cool.
You know, that would be cool. I want to know more about these characters.
There's some potential for that to be kind of similar to the Harden Alistair, Harden Leliana thing from Dragon Age Origins. You know, there's some potential there. Or Soften, you know, again from Dragon Age Inquisition, you know. But yeah, one thing I wanted to bring up, for some reason the pictures aren't loading for me. I don't know if it's just my thing or if it's the website, but I was looking at the locations that so far have been confirmed. So Antiva, Rivain, and the Anderfels are all locations. And well, who do we know from Antiva? Well, we have Josephine, we have Zevran. I think wasn't Isabella from Rivain?
Yeah.
Isabella was from Rivain.
Man.
Yeah.
Sounds like my land. They're all there.
You be the judge.
Shay's going to be taking his,
I'm in Rivain,
summer holidays to Rivain. Yeah. That's where Shay's Inquisitor takes his summer holidays, in Rivain.
Oh my god.
I agree.
Cool.
I agree.
But with these different locations kind of associated with some of our origins, I wonder if it's possible for us to like start in those areas.
Yeah, I hope so.
You know?
Yeah.
Ooh.
I want so say I'm a crow for my background. Like, does that mean we can start in Antiva and then make our way to Minrathous somehow, or something like that? Or if I'm a Lord of Fortune, do I get to start in Rivain? You know. which also made me think, what if in the gameplay reveal we met Nev in Minrathous? What if depending on your origin you meet someone else that's the same background as you in another location?
Ooh.
What if I meet Tash as a fellow Lord of Fortune or something, you know?
Oh,
But
that would be cool.
that's just me, you know, considering it. I think it would be cool, but at the same time, I do think Nev is kind of essential for the whole like detective thing. So, you know, probably a pipe dream, but it would be really cool. For me it's the meeting Duncan version.
Yeah.
So,
You're saying they swap out the entire character, and like the intro itself becomes dynamic based on where you start and kind of the partner you get along that way. So it won't be Nev as a detective, but it might be right.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that'll happen. I'm not saying that'll happen.
Oh
I'm
man,
not
but we
saying-
never got
I-
another origin ever again. You know, where we had the starts being completely customized to our play.
I think I think they've talked about that before. Like the directors of the games talked about that, and like back in Origins, it was easier because, like, let's just be honest here. If you didn't have to make games look as good, there would be more in it. You could just if you didn't have to worry about making a game look like have 8K textures, you could just make these things. And because of the fact that in this modern industry that has created itself, you need to have those options. So I would much rather prefer they not have those options than to have much more unique introductory scenes, because everyone remembers Origins because of those introductory scenes. Everyone's like, man, I loved I loved being able to go back and be like, oh, I didn't really like the way that I played through that Origin, let's try a different one. And you could just exit the game and do it again. But every Inquisitor starts the same. Every Hawk starts the same, realistically. And now are we going to get another one where it's like every single Rook starts the same, no matter what their origins or background? It kind of feels like if there was one where you should have alternative origins, it would be this one, when you can have 4 different voice actors and you can have 6 different factions and all this other stuff that makes your character so much more unique.
But with that said, are we still do you guys want to still talk about the panel, or do we want to go to the dev interview?
Let's roll forward.
Okay, so it's
because we're derailing. We're derailing anyways, so
I don't care. Like, honey, that's what makes it fun. No, but when it comes to the dev interview, it's funny that you guys say that, because especially with the origins, from what I'm understanding from the article and from a little bit of what the devs were talking about, it seems like we're all going to have the same initial opening. So even though we may want to meet, because I think that would be really cool, you know, you meet Lucanus or you meet Davrin right there, that would be dope as hell. But I think for the context of how the way, I believe John Epler had said, the way the game starts is kind of like the ending of Inquisition, kind of like this is the conclusion of what you would have got had Inquisition continued in some way, shape, or form, even though this technically is like a continuation. But still, they basically say it's the same. Now, when it comes to factions, I think that, just for example, let's just say, because I'm going to play as a Lord of Fortune. I don't care. I'm going to be a glamorous Ravanian Lord of Fortune. So I think in the dialogue, that's when we're going to start to see those glimmers of kind of like our background going into play. Because see, guys, just so you know, you can call me a fake fan. I've never played Origins. I've only seen Let's Plays. And I understand what they're talking about, because if you've never played Origins, when you start the game, you get this awesome narration about your life. For example, if you were a mage, how you grew up in a circle tower, and that's all you knew. And then from there, you meet Duncan, and kind of like your story goes from there. Either you get kicked out of the circle, you get sent into the deep roads, you're trying to avoid getting arrested, your family gets murdered in a castle. It's a whole thing. So with that said, you know, when it comes to the dev interviews and the article, what do you guys kind of piecemeal from that? Or what are the things that stuck out to you the most when watching, or have you watched it? Or, you know, am I ruining it for everybody?
Freestyling here, so I mean,
yeah.
anyone, I'm gonna be reading while people are talking.
I mean, I'm just gonna be honest. I don't necessarily think that anyone who hasn't played any previous Dragon Age games would be a fake fan. Like, it's very difficult to go back and play Origins because Origins was built in the mid 2000s. It's difficult to get that shit run on modern PCs and have it run well. I know, I've played it. It crashed a lot. But like, I can entirely understand people who like look back at that sort of stuff and go, man, this is crazy. Like, you know, you had this introduction bit, like, and you got to do this Game of Thronesy kind of thing where if you went through as a noble human, you got to like get your revenge point, like at like a quarter point through the story, you got to meet the person who killed your family and take your revenge, which was really cool as like a payoff thing. It's the same with the dwarven noble and the dwarven commoner. You could when you go back, you meet these people who you have a connection with. And it's so interesting because if you're like a Grey Warden, you might end up in, let's say, Antiva or the Andals or somewhere, and you go, oh, I know you. You were sent out here to recruit for the Grey Wardens, you know, and you might run into someone who you know because of your background, and I think that would be kind of cool. But it would also be really cool if you could actually see how Rook ended up in this position, because we all know that Rook decided to do this. Rook decided to go after Solus. What made them do that? That's the more interesting question, I think, here.
I agree.
Yeah, we get that right at the beginning too. So
Yeah.
we could do. I wonder if like flashbacks are going to make a play here, where our Rook's history doesn't really disrupt the continuity of the experience we're playing, but we'll have the flashbacks that give that context of why he's after Solus. Maybe something happened throughout Inquisition that impacted him or her, and then we're gonna get that through line. But I'm again, because I've got a bias of Mass Effect Andromeda right now that I'm experiencing. We get those Sam flashbacks of the riders, right? And maybe they might use something like that too, some leverage there. I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure how, because I like what I like the idea of, like, in Origins we had that beginning and end, right? So whatever you did in the prologue, it didn't just stop in the prologue. We also had we had a closure to it with however we started. We had a closure to it in the third act. So it just felt more immersive that way. But I don't know. What are people saying?
So I have an idea there, if you don't mind me jumping straight back in, because we know Solus is going to be in your head. What if it's Solus? Yeah. So
is that confirmed? Okay.
Yes, we know Rook and Solus are connected in some way, shape, or form, and Solus can be inside your head and talk to you like Johnny Silverhand in Cyberpunk. And it's really, really interesting because I want to know if what you're thinking of, like how Sam is your AI in your head and you can hear Sam and your friends can hear Sam. And when you unlock the memories, you go back and, like, you know, you see what your father was doing, what your parents were doing, all that kind of stuff, and leading up to the Andromeda Initiative. What if it's the same thing with Solus, and Solus is like, why the fuck are you here? And he just looks through your memories and, like, you relive them through Solus's eyes.
That'd be a way to do it. It's a convention. It works.
Right.
See, my idea is just silliness. Solus stole Rook's sweet roll, and Rook is just outraged by this.
Yeah. Rook is just angry.
Oh God.
At the end, they get their sweet roll and they're like, I'm chill now. I've eaten.
I'm content.
I'm content.
Man.
Is that age-old Snickers ad? Not you when you're hungry.
Right? Oh my God, yes. So, to continue with what Mikey is saying, yes, Solus will be reliving rent-free in your head after the initial ritual that, you know, we as Rook interrupt. So, oops, our bad. But yeah, so I think that is going to be very interesting when we start to see how that relationship between you and Solus start to kind of, I guess, blossom, you know, based on what the devs are saying. And like, kind of going back to the Origins thing, the way the devs keep talking, it's like we're going to be able to craft our kind of backstory with our interactions with our companions. Like, just for example, let's just say we're talking to Tosh. You know, again, I'm a Lord of Fortune. they're a Lord of Fortune. So based on the conversations and interactions, they're going to be dialogue choices where we kind of say, oh, well, I did this, I grew up this way. Does that kind of make sense based on character creation and your lineage? So, go for it.
So it's that kind of reminds me of what they did in Inquisition, because like, let's say you're talking to Vivienne and, you know, she makes that, oh, you grew up in the Ostwick Circle.
Right.
What did you think of head enchanter Lydia, I think she was called? And you could say like, oh yeah, she was like a mother to me, like we were besties. Or you could go the entire other way and be like, I thought she was a bitch. Vivienne disapproves. Like, and you had a lot of variants of that. I'll always remember the one with Josephine, if you're playing an elf and she's like, has anyone kind of been a bit racist to you? Like, what's going on with that? Like, maybe if you told us about your life, you know, maybe people would stop being racist, and you could say like, oh, you know, life is a Dalish, you know, I got up, you know, early in the mornings to fix the Aravel, and I went to the Hala. Or you could go again the other way, like, oh, I was constantly fighting with humans. Fights 100% of the time. It was awful. Like, I like that. It was, I liked the origins. I loved the origins. Like they you know, it is the highlight of Dragon Age Origins. It's beautiful, but I can understand the idea of like, we can't really have that. So just having those little dialogue choices where you can kind of specify like, oh, I was off doing this. Oh, this is how I felt about such a thing. I'm like, it's nice. Yeah. Yes, please.
Callista's Elven Rook's hands are rated E for everyone.
Right? Like, just
everyone can get these hands.
Right.
Everyone be fighting. Everyone.
Right. Oh yeah. If you haven't seen Callista's Let's Play, I recommend you do it. And now. Okay.
Callista's elf is 100% from like West London and is more than willing to shank a motherfucker.
Pugilist.
Yeah.
Oh my god, yes. Oh my goodness. So I'm excited to see how the devs are gonna really play this, because I'm thinking like you, Callista, it's gonna be kind of more like in the line of Inquisition. And then when it comes to the companions, based on, still within the article on the dev video, they say that this is gonna be the most romantic or the most fleshed out companions, because one thing the devs keep highlighting, and I like what they're saying, is that we went back to our roots with storytelling and creating these types of characters that are very story driven, and they really help flow with the narrative, because as you said before, Shay, this is more kind of like in line with Mass Effect 2. It's very handcrafted storytelling, and you know, things have a certain beat with how they go. So how do you guys, like, what do you guys think about that? How do you guys feel about that, based on the little bits that we know and what we've experienced in the past with Dragon Age games?
Can I jump in with something controversial?
Yes, come on in.
A comparison to Mass Effect 2 is not a good thing in my opinion.
Okay.
I recently played Mass Effect 2, and Mass Effect 2 is the type of game I can enjoy once and then never again.
You see,
because
I think you're right in the modern gaming sense. Because when Mass Effect 2 came out in 2011, I think it was by far the most expansive experience we had ever gotten in a Mass Effect game. It looked great. The gunplay was a lot better than 1, even though I think they made a mistake changing the guns from the rechargeable heat dispensing ones from 1 to making them more generic in 2. And like, there was a lot of other things. But I still think Mass Effect 2 is the best Mass Effect game because of the story and all the experiences and all of the characters they introduce into that are so integral to every other story throughout. But as a game, I can entirely understand someone saying, I've played it once, I'm never touching it again. I can entirely respect that take, because it's such an old game these days compared to like what we're used to. Like, because the gameplay is slow, the gunplay is arguably not that good, and you know, your Shepard feels like a tank because they move, you know, like they're moving through molasses constantly. But I don't necessarily think it's going to be like that. I think it'll be the experience will be very similar in that it's like you pick a mission, you go do the mission, and then you go through the mission, and at the end of the mission, you go back to your hub, i.e. in Mass Effect, you go from the Normandy to the planet to the mission, then back to the Normandy.
Yeah.
In this, it'll probably be from the Rookery to the mission to the Rookery sort of thing. So like it's not necessarily it's going to be, you know, Mass Effect 2. It's going to be the gameplay design or the experience will be in a similar vein of mission layout. And I prefer that because having played Inquisition recently, I'm like, man, I fucking hate how long it takes me to do things. I gotta go out and get this arbitrary like Inquisition power thing that for some reason I need to do these missions, and I'm like, oh, just let me play the goddamn story mission instead of making me wait 2 hours to like get Inquisition power and then play this mission, or go out and grind materials to make better armor. I'm not here to play an MMO. I don't want to be playing an MMO, goddammit.
But what about that ram meat? What about the ram meat? For the refugees, you gotta get the 10 pieces of ram meat, Mikey.
In the hinterlands.
No.
But
the hinterlands can catch these hands.
One quick thing I want to point out is that Callista is currently playing Mass Effect 3 for the very first time, and so like
just
if
wait.
if we want to reference Mass Effect 3 in any way, just like you know,
don't.
No spoilers,
just don't.
please.
Yeah.
I was thinking earlier when Mikey was talking about Thane, I was like, don't bring up Mass Effect 3. Please don't bring it up.
Yeah.
I would have shouted something if I thought it was gonna. If I thought.
Thane
it
does. Mika would have kicked me from the call.
No, I wouldn't have kicked you from the call.
Just muted me forcibly. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, oh, I'm so sorry, I hit a mute button, and then I'll send you a message, like, you know, like those corporate people, you know, for your performance, we would like for you not to drop spoilers.
No, you see, it won't be like that. It'll be like, Mike, keep your fucking opinion to yourself, or these hands will be rated E for everyone.
Let's go. But
like, I don't necessarily think it's a bad decision, because I think it'll make it a lot more tailored of an experience, and you'll experience more developed interactions. Because like, I did enjoy the dynamics that you get in the party for Inquisition, like when you're walking around and you get like the cool party banter. But I think you might get more tailored party banter, because there's always like, I haven't heard all the party banter lines in Inquisition because there's so many characters and so much things you'd have to do. You have to like pick a different party and then roam around the hinterlands just to find all these dialogue lines, and I'm like, I just don't have the time.
No. Speaking of dialogue, there was some info recently released that Veilguard has 140,000 recorded lines. In comparison,
that's crazy, right?
In comparison, Inquisition had 80,000. Mass Effect 2 only had 20,000.
Jesus. Because I think I just read that same line, Roma, where it's like, it's per Rook, man. This isn't like in the game. It was 80 to 120,000 per Rook. So imagine what that scales out to with each of the characters, each of the NPCs, like scripted or not. That's an insane undertaking.
Yeah.
Yep. Which I'll be honest, does kind of give me hope that maybe there will be a lot more you know, in-depth conversations with our companions, because I do know Callista's issue with Mass Effect 2 wasn't necessarily the gameplay. No. It was the role-playing potential and stuff like that. Like she felt like railroaded in a lot of ways. So
extremely railroaded. It was it was just the how do I put all RPGs are railroads to some extent.
Yeah.
It's not like a true tabletop where you can just I don't want to do the main mission. I want to go start a tavern. Like, you can't do that in Mass Effect. Like, you can't quit.
That would be interesting if you just had an option as Shepard to just go start a bar in Omega.
Right.
You come back from the dead in Mass Effect 2 and it's like, fuck this, I'm done.
Right. Oh my god.
I get that all games are railroads, and I think it is up to the player to some extent to be like, we go along the railroad, like we accept the story, and we like da-da-da-da-da. But everything in Mass Effect 1 was just, Cerberus are bastards. Don't you hate these people? Oh, you're a soul survivor. We have extra reason for you to hate these people. And then Mass Effect 2, it's just, you're just going to work with them now. And I'm like, why? What? They believe you? I'm like, this is not good enough for me. This is not. No. So literally, all throughout Mass Effect 2, it was just like, no. My shepherd is just lying to the elusive man. She's lying to every. Like literally, there'd be these lines where she'd be like, "Oh, like I'm working with Cerberus because it's this," and then immediately afterwards, I'd go, "She's lying because she's working to take down the elusive man from the inside because her elbow is hooked, and the elusive man can hear all of her things, so she's just like." Telling these lies. Like,
all I can imagine in my head is just the shepherd goes, "I'm working with Cerberus because no one else is helping," and Callista's in the background, like narrator, like, "In actuality, we're only doing this so we can take down the elusive man."
It's like Arrested Development.
Right?
Yeah, that was my Let's Play.
Oh my God.
No, it was. It really was. It was hilarious, but it was good.
Yeah. I mean, I'll not deny that is definitely like one of the problems with the story. It like feels very like, we hated Cerberus in Mass Effect 1. Everyone hates Cerberus in Mass Effect 1. They killed that admiral because he's a cool guy. And then in 2, it's like you're forced to work with them because the human admiralty won't help you, and unless you saved the council, you don't get your Spectre status back. And even if, well, the way I look at it is that if you saved the council, you should have had the option to just be a Spectre. Just be like, okay, so I'm a Spectre now, which means I don't need the elusive man because I have all this money and power that the council has. Bye bye, Cerberus.
Right. But
it might have made the game harder. That would be the difficulty thing of like, you can work with the elusive man and get the information easier, or you can just be a Spectre and try and figure shit out yourself. It would have probably made the game harder, but hey, it would have been interesting.
It's true. And it's funny that you say that because, again, going back to the devs and the articles, that seems to be also a theme, like your choices. Like, whether people live or die, they get hurt. If someone stays with you, like stays with your party or leave. So it's, again, I think that's why I think the Mass Effect 2 reference comes from. Because they did say there are areas that you can explore. I believe it was the game director, Karen. She had said there are other areas that you can do a little bit more like open world exploring. But I do think, hopefully it's not too railroady, because honestly, Callista, that was something I was concerned about. Because I do like the freedom of, okay, today we're going to be here in Hinterlands. We'll find a few shards. Tomorrow, I'm going to be somewhere. I'm going to go back to the Orlesians and maybe go find something at an overly priced nug just to say that I have it. Can you do that? But it seems like we're going to have a little bit of the both. It's mainly going to be the way she keeps saying it, handcrafted storytelling. But we will have options to explore, so it won't be too railroady, if that makes any sense.
I do wonder if it'll be like it is in the Mass Effect games, where you have a hub that you explore, like in the area, like in Tevinter you're in a hub and all that.
Like you have, I know that your home base basically is called the Lighthouse. I don't know how big it's going to be. Is it going to be the Normandy? Is it going to be Skyhold, or is it going to be or is it going to be Dragon Age Origins camp? That's kind of the question for me, is how big is this place? Because I will say Skyhold got a little too big for me. Like I just finished playing Inquisition, and it's like, let's go.
What level is this shit on? Like, where?
Right.
The fuck is Alistair again? Like, I don't know.
Cullen is way the hell. Cullen's way the hell over there now.
Right.
and so it's like, there wasn't really much to see on the way. It's like, okay, I suppose I'll stop by and sell all my stuff or whatever. But like, the Normandy was, it had different levels and stuff, but it was still relatively compact. Like I never got overwhelmed. Going from place to place on the Normandy. But Skyhold a little bit. Kirkwall, holy shit.
Yep. The Tempest was all right. I didn't mind the Tempest when it came to its size. It was like it was like Normandy 1, even smaller. Like, it was so small that like it was difficult to lose people in that map.
It's just that they would move around, and so that and
that was the only thing.
Look at the map, which was dumb, but
yes. That's something I did like about the Tempest, is that the characters wouldn't be in their rooms constantly.
Yeah,
they didn't have like an assigned area.
Real.
Yeah. The only person I think who didn't really move was Gil, but that was because he was the engineer and he needed to be near the warp drive.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah, that's actually something to think about, because Roma, what you're saying, based on Calla Elizabeth, she said she saw, because just for the people who don't know, Calla Elizabeth as well as Katie were a part of the council of people who were able to play the game a little early and give feedback to BioWare, which again, ladies, thank you so much. But and I'm like you, Roma, how is this gonna look? Because Skyhold was really big, because I was romancing Iron Bull, so I always knew he was in the tavern. But then in my other playthrough, when I was romancing Josephine, luckily I remembered, oh, she's in her office, so I can just go run in there. But for all the other companions like Solus, and then going way up top for for Vivienne and Dorian and Liliana, you had to run up the damn stairs, and it's just like, Lord have mercy, where's the fast travel? But there wasn't. But I'm curious about that, because the way they seem to make the lighthouse, the rookery, is that everyone will have their own rooms as you're developing relationships with them. I think that's why there's so many dialogue options. As you're developing and cultivating these relationships, their rooms start to take on more and more of their personality. Oh. But what we were also told is that you can leave the rookery, you can go out into the Veil, I forget what they actually call it, and you can explore the grounds outside of it as well. So I want to know, are we going to run into another Skyhold? Will we be running like Roma is right now amongst the Aurora Borealis of the Fade? Like, how is this going to play out? So continue with this conversation. What are you guys feeling about all these things? Like, and by the way, have you guys read all of the article and seen the video? I'm just curious.
For which one, the dev one, or?
Yeah, the dev video and like the full Game Informer. I keep saying it's so funny. Game Informer article.
I read the summary of the Q&A of it.
Okay.
I didn't read the article of it, so I got some context of that, like the line stuff, and that there's no fetch quests. There's no. What was the other one? No fetch quests and no. Anyways, it's that it's curated. It's more curated, and so they're not going to be doing it in the way where just go get those stakes, right? So, So I'm all for that. I mean, it's again, I keep bringing up Mass Effect Andromeda because it's I'm playing it right now, but that's
fine.
They do it in a good sense where, I mean, sometimes you're like, oh shit, like it just happened last night where there was a fetch quest and I got so angry because I'm like, there's been barely no fetch quests. And it's like, why'd you do it to me now? I'm wrapping up a planet here, and the last goddamn thing I got to do is a fetch quest like twice because I forgot to do the second thing like on the way there. Like it just but the maps are reasonable. They're also not these open world maps where you got to go like you're wasting real world 15-20 minutes because that's like a back and forth scenario. Like that's not fun as a gamer, and the fast travel points are liberal. Like the Mass Effect did it, Andromeda did it well because I get it, the planet's cool, but let me just get to that hub where that micro hub on the planet to do that layer of quests, and come back, and it keeps the narrative tighter. And I feel like they can lose you when they give the player too much freedom to do whatever they want. As much as we kind of want that too, we want to have that exploration and that freedom. Man, I don't know, if you're a story lover and you just like continuity and like you like to have cohesion, that starts to break things apart because we're talking about real world time isn't just in one sitting you're going to get these games done. These are like 100-hour plus games for some of us, right? Like 200-hour games. And so sometimes there's replays. Like it's just, you got to lean that out. So it sounds like the dev side of things is going to be really taking that into consideration. So there's going to be some haters out there. We get it. We get it. Okay. But there has to be a new audience that comes in too. And that new audience has even less attention span than the people from 10, 15 years back that started Origins and Dragon Age 2 and Mass Effect trilogy, right? Like, we got to cater to more people. Otherwise, this franchise also doesn't have legs to run. Like, it needs to pick up. It needs to start a new race. Like, we talked about this on our last call, right? Where they're starting from zero again. This is where they're at. This is where BioWare's at. So they can't screw around here. So they got to listen to the majority, and maybe they tighten it up. Over the next 10 years, we get other games that start to cater, right? But
I mean, like I think you're dead on there, because this is an argument that's actually quite prevalent in a community that I'm in, which is the sports sim community, because like there are obviously people who are like super into those games and that's all they play, and they put like thousands of hours into these games, and they're like, we don't want them to be casualified or to be more appealing to the general gamer consensus, because we don't want to have our experience diluted. But my opinion on that is, the more people playing your game, the more likely you are to see more of that game, because and more better versions of that game, because like exactly, and with like the fact with the Veilguard, it's been 10 years since the last Dragon Age game, so the people who were playing it in 2014, 2013, who were maybe in their early 20s, late teens, are now in their early 30s, late 20s, and they might have an entirely different life. Basically, they could have gotten married, they could have moved, they could have had kids. Like 10 years is such a long time for a human lifespan, that you can look at that and go, there are people who were 8 when Inquisition came out, who you now have to try and sell this game to.
Because they're 18.
Yeah, because they're 18 now. And now you got to look at that and go, okay, we want to be able to sell to those kids who are 18 years of age, who have their, own money now, who want to buy games. But we also have to sell the game to the 28-year-old who has played all of the Dragon Age games since they came out, who has this, affinity with our franchise, and it's just how it is, the time is immortal, time is immutable. It's just the way it exists, and unfortunately, things are going to change, and certain people aren't going to like them. And as far as I'm concerned, as long as we get a good game experience, as long as the story is good and the characters are good, it'll be whatever at that point. As long as I can enjoy the game, as the game isn't a bore to play, and it's not a case of like we get with Inquisition, where it's like, okay, you've done the 3 main missions in this area, now here's 12 fetch quests and find other things that you need to do to like 100% this area, and find your 25 shards, and then lose your mind because you can't find that one shard. I know it's terrible, but like that's how it is that if you gotta find something in the middle of those two, and hopefully then the people who are on one side of it go, you know what, I didn't like the fact they removed this particular mechanic, but I don't miss it, is the thing. Like if you pull something out and no one ever notices that it's gone, then you've done the right thing. You've spent your resources wisely. You've not brought a feature or something in that no one misses. It'd be different if they were like, we're removing this thing, and everyone started playing the game, was like, oh, that thing you removed, I miss it.
There was actually a discussion about some of the difficulty settings that were revealed. You had the option to turn off death. Like you can just if there's a part that is bugging you too much, you can just turn off death and just do it, which pissed a lot of people off, because they're which the general attitude was like just get good, and I'm like that's not really helpful. That's not really helpful for it's not a helpful attitude to bring in more people into this franchise, because like I can tell you even like I mean I've played Origins, I've beaten it a few times. Do you know how much I would have loved to turn off death in the Deep Roads? Like,
oh god, the Veil.
Like go farther. Give me a one-shot option for everything, so I can just speed through it. Like, so this is something that this isn't just for new players. This is for people who are maybe replaying.
Yeah.
It's like I don't want to go through the challenge again of dying to this dragon multiple times. I just want to beat it and move on.
Yeah.
Like so I'm turning off death so I can blitz through the game and just get the story points that I want to get.
Yes.
So and it's similar to the when we were talking on Hark's channel about the trans options, for example, or other options. It's like why do you care if you're not going to use the feature? Like the feature is there for other people. If it doesn't appeal to you, don't use it.
Don't use it.
That's simple.
That's it.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a thing that Sony's gotten very good with. Like their first party games have incredible like accessibility options to people who maybe don't have full mobility in their hands, or maybe only have one hand, or maybe they have like a repeated stress injury, like they can't button mash or whatever.
Yeah.
They have things where you press a button once and then you win, and that's it, which is entirely fine. If you cannot button mash and you need to be able to, and you want to play God of War, or you want to play Spider-Man, or you want to play something else, and those games have button mashing in them, choosing that option is entirely valid, because that's just how the game is designed. And if you're one of these people who are like, I have a kid, I have a husband, I have a wife, I have whatever else, I have a full-time job I got to be prepared for. If you're an on-call nurse or an on-call surgeon, and you come home and you're like, I have however many hours, but maybe 2 hours, or maybe I get less, or maybe it's a case of I'm on call for the week, and I don't want to have to be in the middle of this really tense combat and get a phone call from work being like, hey, you got to come in and do a surgery in half an hour. Instead, you can just go, okay, yeah, I'm blasting through these, combats that maybe aren't all that. Maybe it's just a case of, as well, you're someone who's just not interested in combat in games. You could be, I'm just here for the story. These are all valid choices. And if you decide, hey, I want to play, like I played through Dragon Age Origins recently, and I played it on easy because I'm like, I don't care about the combat in this game. It's so dull and so frustrating. I'm like, screw that. Screw playing on anything harder than easy, because it's just not fun. So
not every game, right? And know your audience and deliver for it. And the Dragon Age for me doesn't have to be get good. Like, this is not these are not combat games. They might be action combat, right? Like even Mass Effect, right? But that's not what they are, right? They deliver something way more than that, and you're either there for that, and if you're not, that's cool too. Like, you can go into killer difficulty, and that's the game you want to play. But you're probably blasting through all the story because you don't give a damn. So there's different gamers for these games for sure. But the core of this game is not a Dark Souls-ian kind of get good vibe.
Yeah,
never has.
It's not a Souls-like. If you want to go out and play a hard Souls-like, go play a hard Souls-like.
Yeah. Get the game for you.
I'm not gonna I'm pausing like I'm gonna disagree with you. Like, no, people should get good. Like, no,
get good at games, Callista, 2024. So, like, instead of dragging Micah for actually being incredibly horny, we're dragging Callista for being one of those gamers who tells everyone to get good.
There it is. No, I promise. Opinion that's gonna divide people.
Here's my thinking, because I'm good with Dragon Age Origins. Like, I am one of the people who like, oh, I'm being told to get good. I'll get good. Like, let's see what like I can play nightmare difficulty on Dragon Age Origins, and it's no challenge for me, because I'm just like, I know, like, I know this game inside and out. I can do the thing. But why would I play on anything but normal? Because I can do this. It's like, it's not difficult. But like, why would I? And why would I get angry at people who are like, I want to turn off death? I'm like, that's like, you want to enjoy the game how you want to enjoy the game, just like I want to enjoy the game how I want to enjoy the game. Surely, if with the difficulty settings, surely you could make something that's incredibly challenging. Like, if you can turn off death, then surely there are going to be options to make it harder as well as easier. So like, you're so focused on like, oh, people are making it easy for themselves. One, why are you so focused on what someone else is doing with their game that does not affect you in any way, shape, or form? But two, like, think of it this way. You can prove like, oh, I got good at this game. I turned all the difficulty settings onto like the hardest thing possible. Like, my Rook has 1 HP, just one single HP, and
no
I
hit
beat
run.
the game. Like,
Right?
do that. Like, it
Oh
just,
my god.
like, as someone who is good with Dragon Age Origins, I'm like, why are you complaining so much? Why are you getting upset at this?
Methinks dost thou
fine.
protest too much.
That part.
Like, legitimately, I understand people who are like, I love a challenging game. I love a game where I have to think about everything. And I play games that are challenging because I find them challenging. I've played and finished Xenonauts. I've played and finished XCOMs. I've played and finished all of the Dark Souls and Elden Ring and Demon Souls and all that. And I've played and finished them. And that's great. Those are the games that I wanted to play at that time. But when I come to Dragon Age or Mass Effect or any other RPG for that matter, a lot of the time, I'm like, I'm not here for the combat, I'm here for the story, and I'm here for the characters. Which means I'm playing it, maybe on hard if I find normal is too easy. Yeah. That's it. Especially my first time. Any more than my first time, I'm playing it on normal at best. because I'm like, I don't care. Legitimately, I'm like, I'm just playing this because I feel like playing it. Like, I played through Vampire multiple times, and like the first time I played it on hard, I think it was because I found easy too easy, and I was like, every single subsequent playthrough, I played it on easy because I'm like, the combat was repetitive and kind of dull, so I just wanted it to be over with so I could do other stuff.
Yeah. As my mama would say, get in where you fit in, baby, and have a good time. But
and as someone who will freely admit to loving video games but not being good at them, like I tried an honor run in Baldur's Gate 3 just to see how far I would get. I died right outside the Nautilus.
No, let me tell you something. I'm playing mine on Tactician, and I'm regretting the decision. But you know what? It's worth it. It was fun. It's fun.
I reversed out of that sumbitch. Like that was because I was no longer in there for the character's story. I'm like, what the fuck is going on now? Like I just spent 5 hours on this goddamn one battle scene, right? Like it's just that for me was like, no, I don't. And then I have to edit this thing. No, we're good. We're good. Moving on.
It turned into an actual like single player D&D game at that point.
You
it was
be
like
the judge.
Yeah, you're doing 5 hours for a combat because you're thinking about everything exactly. 17 different times.
And as a DM for 20 years, at one point, it was like, no, I know what those nights were like, right? Until 5 a.m. It's like, no, we just spent 8 hours on this. What fucking?
Yeah,
are you like? Can we move on? Like
I came into the house at 9 a.m.
preparing this adventure, and we fight.
I mean, I've often been like, all right, it's someone's house at 9 a.m. We're going to stop at 1 p.m. for lunch. 7 p.m. comes around and we're like, none of us have eaten.
Now
we're all sweating. We're all sweating. None of us have had any water. We've not taken our meds. God damn it.
It's a thing, y'all.
Oh god.
So okay. So I'm gonna ask you guys. So do you guys want to jump into theories?
Yes, please. I got about 15 minutes just as a heads up. I gotta bounce.
Okay.
10, 15. So I want to hear at least what other people are saying because I'm curious. Because I haven't heard from some of these other folks. Wonderful folks.
Okay, I'm gonna throw Callista out there because last time Callista had an excellent theory, and I would love for you to share it with the children at home.
Okay. So I think personally, I think how Solus is going to get into our head. We know that, Rook's blood somehow gets mixed up with Solus, and, it's like, oh, the ritual went a bit screwy, and now these two assholes have been released, and I, a lesser asshole, am now stuck in the veil. I haven't gotten over my heartbreak. I haven't. I'll never get over that. Personally, I think what is going to happen, so we know that Solus has the Lyrium dagger. I think that potentially maybe Elganon. I'm so sorry if you all did not know that. I know that Roma and Mikey did. I'm like, Shay, if you did not know
no,
this,
I'm good.
So sorry.
I'm
so,
good.
like,
I got my theories on this. Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe Elganon or Gillenane were trying to we're going to magic the dagger away. You can't have it. Solus is, holding on to it. I personally think that Rook is going to run up to it and grab it, grabbing hold of the blade. And that's going to cause, their blood to get mixed up with Solus's, and then big magical explosion, and then suddenly, who is this in my head? It's me, the egg. I think that is how Solus is going to wind up in our head. I think, oh god, I had this theory so clearly in my mind the last time we spoke, and now it's just like dreams in the wind.
Like the fade.
Theory.
It's like
ever changing,
spiriting away.
Solus took my theory. I got too close. Clearly.
I think we all agreed though that Callista's Rook will just be like, Solus stole my wife, and he's going to catch my lefts and my rights. That's how this is going to work.
Let's go.
I just want to play an absolute bitch in Veilguard. Is that such a crime?
Right.
We're going to be watching Callista's Let's Play and just be like, God, the amount of swearing. And then realize it's not Callista swearing, it's her character swearing. Just constantly.
I'm here for it.
God, brain. So I think, oh my god. I hate having to do theories when I'm on the spot. I'm just like,
I'm with you there. That's
why
I never.
Do you want us to come back to you? Do you want us to come back to you?
Come back to me. Come back to me later.
Okay.
I'll let it cook. I'll put it back in the oven for a little bit.
Yeah, just simmer. That's how you put the fire on low and you let it simmer. That's how we cook. I have a theory, and mine isn't grandiose, But everybody's talking about Varric and his fate in this game. And I don't think Varric is going to kick the bucket. I don't. Because if you guys watch the gameplay trailer as much as I have, at the bottom of the stairs, you see where Solus turns around and he's crying and the veil's open and your cousins is coming out. You notice you see a little thing moving with a glowing something on them and his hands are empty. Solus's hands are empty. I think they snipped that section of video to confuse us. Oh. And I think that Varric grabbed the dagger at some point. Solus probably knocked him off with magic. And Varric got hit, but some of the rubble fell on top of him. And I think Varric is paralyzed. That's what I think happens to Varric. Why he cannot fight, why he's not a companion, but why we continue to know he's going to be there. Because something the devs said that gave it away for me. They said, oh, everybody's complaining like, why is his hair so dark? Where's his ginger? Where's his red chest hair? It's like, girl, shut up. But they said you'll start to notice his hair color change in different lighting. So if he dies there, then how would we see it in different lighting? So that tells me that Varric he's injured because one, RIP, our beloved Bianca. I think those are the indicators of why he can't fight. Now, another thing that got me thinking about this, a long time ago, I think it was in one of his books, I want to say Hard and Hightown, he's basically kind of talking about, at the end of the book, the storyteller is sitting and reminiscing on his adventures with his friends. Now, if you think about that, that's very, I wouldn't say foreshadowing of what might happen to Varric in this game. So I think Varric is going to play a role of kind of like an advisor, but it's because he can't, and that's why he's not in the Fade with you in the Rookery. He could be there, but the way the article wrote it, he may not be there. So I think he's still in the waking world, but just unable to walk. That's my theory, but everyone else, go for it.
I could see it. I could definitely see that being an option because, everyone loves Varric. I don't think I've ever met anyone who hasn't enjoyed Varric in 2 Inquisition and in anything else he's been in the visual novels and the books. Yes. Legitimately, I think he might be arguably everyone's favorite character. He's been in more Dragon Age games than any other character, I think. Yeah, he's been in 3 of them, when no one else, I think, has been in more than 2.
Yeah.
I think at least confirmed, because you can have Alistair in 3, you can have Alistair in 1 if he's in 1. You can have him appear in 2 if he's the king of Ferelden. He comes to Kirkwall with his guards, and you can have him in 3 as the leader of the Grey Wardens. But I don't think he can be in 2 if he's the Grey Warden leader because of how that would work. But anyway,
no, he does make an appearance if he's a Grey Warden.
He does.
Oh, he does.
Yeah, during the Kunari invasion. He rocks up and he's like, we can't help.
Yes.
Sorry, and we're like, listen, Alistair, if you weren't so adorable, I'd kill you.
Right.
But yeah, I my only sort of theory that I can think of is I think there will be an entirely dedicated moment where if you're playing a Qunari Grey Warden, there might be Qunari who show up at some point and go, "What's wrong with you? Why are you a part of this organization? How did you end up there? Because we know how you become a Grey Warden.
Yeah.
But why is a Qunari a Grey Warden? We've never seen it before. We've never seen a Grey Warden recruit a Qunari. So why is that now a thing? Are you not a member of the Ferelden/Orlesian Grey Wardens? Because we've obviously seen that the Ferelden ones were basically wiped out, and then the Orlesian ones are still around, but they're not really close enough to the area to be there. So are you a member of one of the more local chapters or sects, and that's why you're there? And what would the other Qunari think of you being a Grey Warden? Because you've obviously given up being a part of the Qun, because you're not doing what the Qun has decided you to do. You're doing your own thing. You've taken your life quite literally into your own hands.
Yeah.
So that'll be I'd love to see a interaction with, main Quinari and you. It's very similar to what happens probably with the Inquisitor if you're a Quinari Inquisitor, and you meet with the delegate from the Coon. But as far as I'm concerned, that would probably be the most interesting bit of storytelling that I can think of that isn't like main plot line.
Yeah.
Any theories on your end, Roma?
Yeah.
I'm looking. I remember seeing something that was it was kind of breaking down the meanings of each companion name, and I've been scrolling through and looking for it, and I can't seem to find it. So
I
come back
know
to me.
what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about. Shay, do you have anything?
I mean, I like the idea that I've been working on this spreadsheet since the Inquisition, but then I abandoned it, and then this made me think about it again. So I'm in the Callista boat, where it's like if I talk freely about this, I'm gonna get all entangled because I had this idea of I really do believe that all of the gods of Thetis are all the same spiritual entity, and that these two that are left over are the two that are left over because the other ones have been taken out. So if we think of them as 7 and there's 2 left, it's more like there might not be another dark spawn invasion. There might not be another one of these because now they're free. They're out there. And these as like almost proto spirits, this can make things go backwards. Like they could be fighting for things to be unlocked, and for those defeated archdemons, which to me are just proto spirits or proto demons, they can all be brought back. And so that might be the few that we're going to be stuck in, is like, is it okay for them to come back? Because back in the proto days, spirits to me are just ideas. They're just ideas you believe in, and those things become beings, right? And so this is just at the mega level. This is like if you have 1 million people believe in the same thing, then these spirits become identities. And now we know that identities can become physical because we've seen that at the micro level with Cole. And so now it turns into, now where does Solus fit into this? Well, he never belonged in any of this. Like he was the sort of the real thing that transposed himself onto the idea realm, I think like he's become something different. Whether we talked about that as the Dreadwolf Solus or Solus, again, the Dreadwolf itself could just be a manifestation of a bunch of people believing him to be a Dreadwolf, and then the Dreadwolf becomes another entity that's not Solus. It's just another entity that's part of Solus as well. So I think there's like more fluidity around, and I just found out on this call that the Solus ends up in your head. So that to me, like something pops there, because now we're in idea realm again, we're in the dream realm again, and all of these things are real for those for that perspective. And so Solus could be experiencing something in a very real way by getting the perspective of someone in the real realm, quote real realm, and maybe remembering why he fought for the proto elves back in the day, why he fought to free them, why he got that perspective, and why he wanted to put the other gods, stop them from maybe making that life worse, right? Like he was there before.
Right.
It's just he's lost that along the way, and I'm kind of so there's a narrative flow there, but I also feel like that I want to learn about, but it's also the world building. Like I really hope that they don't lose this ability to, like, they're giving us now what all of us have gotten like inklings of from a lore perspective, and I don't want them to answer it, because I really don't think you can answer what the fate is. You can't answer what the spirit realm is. You can't answer what these things are, because they're whatever they're going to be. That's just that they kind of caught them. They created this perfect loop of reality being ideas and ideas becoming reality. And so and then like at the very macro level, I also have this, like, that Mass Effect and Dragon Age are all the same thing. Hell, I think Anthem might be the same thing. I just have to experience more of it. But there's too much, there's too many symbolic weavings of things like songs, like hearing the music, like that. They weave through all the games. So this can't be an accident. And maybe it is, right? But from a fan theory crafting perspective, I feel like Thetis could just be a planet-sized fate, like in the Mass Effect universe. Like, why the hell not? It could be a moon that's protected from whatever's happening with the Reapers, but because they've unlocked something that allows for the ideas to manifest, like a protection around this planet that just makes them invisible. So I don't know. So I'm hoping they kind of really dig into this. It's not just a portal and 2 gods coming as these nemesis, but it's like there's gonna be more. There's a world thing, man. Like, yeah. And we get to navigate the Fade now. I just heard on this call, like, I didn't know. I knew we'd go into the Fade, but if we're in a scenario where, like, we can exist in both at the same time, man,
Mhm.
that opens up a lot of opportunities because these things should exist on top of each other, right? The veil should be existing on top of the physical world and influencing it in subtle ways. And what are those ways? Like to me, it was always through dreams. But what if this is like, maybe there's more, like maybe there's more Coles, like we don't know, like it's just, let's find out about more of what's going on outside of Ferelden. Even like our perspective is so limited right now as players that they have like
True.
this, oh, man, they're going to open up a lot of opportunities for fan crafting. So
I just
Yeah.
had a thing pop into my skull, and I think Shay will enjoy this. What if we have already met another Cole?
Ooh.
His name is Sandal.
I can see it.
Enchantment?
I mean, yeah. I'm gonna go another derailment for the dwarves, and like the Descent DLC for me was probably the most vital piece of lore game,
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
game experience in the entire franchise. And how many people didn't experience Descent? Man, you know, Sky means a whole different thing when you play Descent, because Sky goes down, and you're like, why are they always afraid to fall up in the sky? Well, because the sky is in the center of the world. Like if you play Descent, like
Right.
falling in the sky is very literal. Like for the dwarves,
Or
that
the
come from the
void.
proto dwarf world, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So, man, oh man, oh
It's a
man.
very literal. It's a very interesting like way to look at it now. Is like a fear that the dwarves who have grown up in the holes have this fear of falling into the sky.
But see,
Yeah.
why?
That's what their
why does
ancestors
that-
have done. Their
But see,
ancestors have
why
fallen
does that
through.
memory of the ancestor persist through all the doors,
Yeah.
and that's again the Fade Link, where ideas become manifested in this other
Mm.
realm, and those ideas, the spirits that come into your dreams, then tell you all of these things. Like, why am I afraid of this? Well, because some spirit in some dream made you afraid of this thing. You don't know why. Well, it's
Right.
ancestry as like has
Yeah.
like a through.
There's
line.
also the biological thing of like when we were being developed as a species, our brains learn to recognize things that
I
are
believe that shit in the real
potentially
world.
predators. So like both,
epigenetics?
comes from
yeah,
Yeah.
both of those, yeah, like because our like our lizard brain, the fight response is like a thing
Yeah.
that's developed. That was like one of the first things that we developed because surviving was like, can I take on this cougar? Can I take on this saber-toothed
stupid.
tiger? Is this stupid? And then your brain would go, yes, run, you
Yes.
absolute moron.
Right.
And you know, it's something that everyone's brain has built into it. Of our brain naturally recognizes predators because
Mhm.
we were prey, but we're also predators because like we have the front-facing eyes thing of like we're prey animals, and every single species in Dragon Age that we can play is also predatory animals because every eye faces forward in that instance. But like I can 100% agree with the idea of there are other Coles out there. It's just that I think Sandal was maybe more of a raw version of what Cole would be, because Cole
Could
is
just
quite
be.
developed when you meet him, and
Yeah.
Sandal only really ever says enchantment, and like you can still converse with him, you can still ask him questions, but he doesn't answer in any other way. While Cole learns and grows and experiences things. And I think because of Sandal's father treating him like a son who has a difference, made him into what he is.
Yeah.
Like
That
his
makes
father
sense.
imparted that how would I phrase it? Like personality upon this manifested spirit, I guess.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Oh, I saw your hand.
I've remembered my theory.
There we go. Hey,
Hey.
whipping it around.
I'm going to say thank you to Shay because
Heyo.
what you were saying was like, oh yeah, totally. So I think the reason why Elganon and Gillenane are the only elven gods that appear, I think they're the only ones left.
Yeah.
I am of the opinion that if there are gods in the Dragon Age universe, it's just the elven gods.
Yeah.
And they are simply being called by different names. I think the Maker is Elganon. I think the Maker, I think Elganon called down to some lady and was like, hey, come get me out. And she was like, Maker? And he was like, sure, call me whatever. Just like, do shit. And that was Andraste, and she's doing gubbins. And like years after, it's like, oh, it was the Maker. And and the elves are bad. Like, I think, and Dumat and all of that. I think that was all the Elven Pantheon. And Gillenane created the Blight to...
Yeah.
I just, oh my god, I'm sorry. There are so many thoughts in my brain, and I'm like, I need to explain all of them. I'm so sorry.
It's rich.
I think that the elven gods were trapped in the Fade in two parts. I think that Solus trapped their souls in the Fade,
Yeah.
and he trapped their bodies in the Deep Roads in the forms of sleeping dragons. And Gillenane, you know, all the elven gods are like, we hate the Fade, we hate being up here. Gillenane, do something. Gillenane, being the mad scientist that she is like, right, I'll create the blight. Ooh, look at these dudes. We can be their gods, and we can get them to come to the Golden City, psych, blighted. Now go back out there and wake up our bodies by infecting us with the blight. And that it was like waking them up from a coma. It would, you know, maybe take their soul out of the Fade, reimplant it with the body, and I think maybe they didn't realize it would turn them into crazy corrupted dragons. Maybe they didn't care, because being in the blight, not being in the Fade, was that boring. They were just like, we hate it here. I'd rather be an insane dragon than be stuck here with you guys. I don't know. I don't know.
That's literally me at any family gathering.
Stop telling your business.
But so, like, with the Grey Wardens killing the archdemons, I think that's why it's just Elganon and Gillenane left. They're just like, we're the only ones left. It's just us. And I think the Fade and the Veil, because in the trailers we got, we know that, you know, Solus, he's ripping apart the Veil again. He's ripping apart. I'm so sorry. I'm so excited.
Right?
We love the tongue fumbles.
He's ripping apart the Veil again. And then as we find out later, no, he wasn't. He was just moving the elven gods from one prison to another. That's literally all he was doing. But in doing so, that was bringing the Veil down.
Yeah.
So I think the Veil relies on having at least one elven god in the Fade. As long as there is one in there, the Veil will remain up. And that's why Solus is in the Fade. He's like, yo, if I'm not here, it's going to come down, and it's going to come down in a, oh God, what is it? You know when they bring down buildings? It's you know, something or other crash. It's a,
Ground zero?
Collapse?
No. When you bring something down, controlled crash. There we go.
Yeah.
There we go. So I think you know, as Solus wants to do it, he wants to bring the Veil down in a controlled collapse. He's like, you know, to cause the least amount of damage, blah blah blah. But if no one's in there, it's just going to come down. It's just going to come down. It's going to cause a bunch of death and chaos and blah blah blah. So Solus is like, I'm just going to stay here. Just going to chill out here, and y'all can deal with stuff out there. Y'all can deal with them.
Your pillar.
So I think the premise of Veilguard, I think it's all going to be about how you deal with Elganon and Gillenane. I think we're going to have to kill Elganon, because his whole thing is like, I will control, I will lead, I will be your eternal God King, and you will like it, otherwise bad shit is going to happen. I don't think there's any reasoning with him. I don't think there is any way we can reason with him. He is too much of a tyrant. Gillenane is just a scientist. I personally think she's going to take a relatively back seat in terms of the plot. I think she's going to go off to wherever she was living before, and she's like, I'm going to make some monsters. I'm just going to be in my hole, making monsters, living my best scientific life. So I think, we're going to have to deal with Elganon, but I also think we're going to have to appeal to Gillenane. Like, maybe go back in the Fade. We can give you this shit so you can make Fade monsters. Like, whatever, just please go back in there so that we don't all die. I think that's maybe what's going to happen. It's just a theory.
It's just a theory.
A
game
theory.
We miss you, Matt. Now, how about you, Roma?
Well, I never did find that list of names and their meanings. So, like, I had an inkling of something forming when I first saw that, but since I can't find it, I can't remember it.
No, it's all good.
But like, there were a couple things, like nothing quite so detailed, but definitely a couple observations. But I do have a small theory about Solus's plan and the method in which you're able to change his mind. Is like, one thing that I saw someone say is it wasn't just someone, it was Josephine's voice actress. I watched an interview with her, and she is a big fan of Dragon Age, and she mentioned way back, like when Inquisition first came out, that she thinks the reason that Solus wants Cole to remain a spirit is because that means Cole will survive his plans. Afterwards, if he's a human, he might not survive the plans, and so that's why he's so adamant that Cole remains a spirit. And so that I was thinking about that, and I was like, well, it's not just about Cole. It's about everything. Like, he has this idea of how things are supposed to be, and when you challenge that viewpoint, then he disapproves. And so part of me thinks that maybe certain decisions that you make in Inquisition will either encourage him to leave, let the past be the past, or try to bring it back. So one thing I think is possibly the Cole decision, because Cole is actually living proof that a spirit can change its nature. It is certainly possible. It's like that line in Ratatouille, change is nature. It's like, you can't change nature, and he says change is nature. So it's similar to this. I feel like decisions that you made that show Solus that change can happen, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing. Maybe that could help. I don't have it all in my head exactly, but another observation that someone made is that there's a lot of people saying, Solus is doing nothing wrong, and it's like, it's similar to the Anders did nothing wrong. It's like, no, he did. He did. He did. He totally did.
He did a lot of things wrong.
Yes, he did. But bless him.
It's like, admittedly, these are all like, super Solus stands who don't even care that he's, he wants to commit mass genocide. They just want to submit. They just want to support the egg no matter what. But I did see someone say, like, Solus's motivations don't matter as much when his end goal involves, destroying years and years and years of people and cultures and history in order to bring something back. And so, like, I think that the key to changing his mind is going to be basically showing him that change doesn't have to be a bad thing. Change doesn't have to be a bad thing. And I just finished Inquisition today, and his line to the Inquisitor, she told him, so we're not even people to you, and he says, you weren't at first, which doesn't make what must come next any easier. And then one of the last things he said to her was, I would cherish the opportunity to be proven wrong once again. So I'm like, he's open to being proven wrong.
Yes.
He's open to being proven wrong. So I just hope that
I will entirely piggyback off that, and that I think that I don't know if it's going to. I don't know if it's confirmed or not whether or not your Inquisitor will appear.
You will.
I assume. Yeah. Okay. So if they do appear, what I think is going to happen, and this is like entirely off the cuff, off the tip of my brain, kind of theory crafting, but what I think might be a thing as well that might convince Solus to change his mind is, if you're like me and your Inquisitor was like a brother to Solus, and like you got that line even if you weren't romancing him, of him being like, we weren't at first, and I look forward to being proven wrong again. If that was to happen, and your Solus and the Inquisitor have an interaction, but it turns out at the ending of that interaction is the Inquisitor sacrificing themselves for Solus. That would be one of the things I think that would make Solus actively go, oh, I might actually be wrong. Because like that, I think that would be the only. I think that would mean that we'd actually have a character actively sacrifice themselves, and it be out of our control. Definitive.
Yes.
And just like, this is what happens. The Inquisitor is going to do this, assuming that they got along with Solus. Like that's, I don't necessarily know if that's going to be a thing you have to choose during your introduction / character creation thing. But if it is a thing that you can choose, like if it's a case of, did your Inquisitor respect Solus? and you say yes, your Inquisitor might then sacrifice themselves to save Solus, and if it's no, then they don't. But that would make it harder for you to convince Solus to, change his mind. But it wouldn't make it impossible.
Yeah.
But I think that would be really cool as a thing, is like, if you actually could have it happen where your Inquisitor is talking with Solus and then someone breaks into the room and, your Inquisitor steps in the way of like a crossbow bolt or something. And Solus is just like, why would you do that? Why
I'm
would you
literally talking about killing everything you know. Why would you?
Yeah, why would you do that? And it's just like your Inquisitor's just like, because you're still my friend. Because I know you're better than this.
Right. Oh, if
I have had that thought too. I was like, my Inquisitor might sacrifice herself to save everyone else.
Especially if they're romanced. Like if it's a case of Solus and your Inquisitor are romanced. Yeah.
The drama.
The drama, honey. Oh my glob. But
Like,
yeah.
I can 100% imagine that.
Remember Liliana's line after the mage quest in Inquisition, where they say, I saw you sacrifice yourself for me, and she says, of course I did. I one little life in exchange for a chance at rewriting history. I always did love a bargain. It's like maybe your Inquisitor took that to heart.
Right.
And
Liliana, oh my god.
One life for everyone else, the choice is clear to me.
Right? Oh, I'm not ready. Guys, I'm not ready for this. Okay.
As I said at the top, we're here for the trauma.
Right, we're here for the trauma. And I should have said this at the beginning. Thank you, Roma. I should have said this way at the beginning, but spoilers. So I'm going to have a spoiler warning at the beginning of the video. And then when you see this part of the video, you'll be like, oh, that's why that's there. Because Micah forgot to say it in the beginning, because I'm Micah. Who else would I be?
We know.
Right? No, but one last theory is to coincide with Callista Gillenon. Now, I keep saying this, and I'll say this until I'm blue in the face. It might not be long. But Tevinter Nights, Horror of Hormak. It was written by, John Epler, I believe. Yeah, Horror of Hormak, written by John Epler. We love you, John. In there, they talk about these dwarven tides. And they talk about the goddess Gillenane and Aravales and liquid shit that turns people into monsters. So I think, Callista, you might be onto something where she's like, oh, I'm free, and now I get back to being the best scientist I can be and live my best life making other monstrosities. And then with the concept art, I think yeah, there's going to be a lot of Gillenane monsters we're going to be dealing with. So Blighted Darkspawn, here we come. Yay. So I don't know. I again, the way the devs have been talking, and the way everything has been looking, I don't know. Maybe I'm alone in this camp, but I think Veilguard might be one of the best Dragon Age games we get. And even though it's been a while, it may not be perfect because nothing ever is, but I think it's gonna get damn close. How do you guys
think so too? I think so too. I think despite everything we're hearing now, I think that's just part of the generational internet existence. Like it's just the way it is. Yeah. People are, and especially in the BioWare case, right? So when we get past that and actually get the game, I think there's a whole faction of the Dragon Age community that does not care what's being said online. And I think that this is being very underestimated of just how firmly dedicated the fan base is to the lore of the game, not the gameplay. And so a lot of these things are going to be excused, even if it's a terrible game. Like people come back to Andromeda, right? It's just eventually. Yeah. But I think this is more than the game. This is about an IP that people want to see survive. And so I think we're going to get to see that and be rewarded for it.
I would be legitimately surprised if this game was worse than Dragon Age 2. Like if it was received worse than Dragon Age 2. I'm going to take the
Callista position of the controversial position of I think that was one of the best.
See, I don't think it's a bad game. From a
balanced perspective.
I don't think it's a bad game, but I think it was received very, very poorly. Very much like Andromeda was when it came out. Dragon Age 2 and Andromeda had that reception initially when they came out of, oh my god, what the fuck is this game? So I don't think we'll get that. I think it might be closer to like Mass Effect 3 before the the ending controversy and the stuff with Inquisition when it came out, because Inquisition was received very, very well when it came out. I think it won Game of the Year.
It did.
For the year it released. So like I wouldn't be surprised if it was more, if it was higher than 2 in Andromeda. Maybe not as high as Mass Effect 2 or Dragon Age Origins, but it'll definitely be more. I'd say it would be closer to those two than it will be to 2 or Andromeda.
Yeah.
To give it a score, probably 8 or 9 out of 10, because I think that's what they would be.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, fingers and toes crossed.
Right. But
real quick, in case you have to cut out of here, Mike, I have to bounce. I gotta rush.
Oh no!
Out of the house.
I completely understand. No,
so
we're
sorry for dropping right
up.
on the end here. I'd love to hear.
No worries.
Opinions, but I'm gonna have to hear it and play back.
Okay.
Hey, appreciate you all. Thank you very much for having me.
You're getting a viewer out of it, Micah.
Yeah.
Hey,
Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it.
You too.
You guys are gonna continue, right? We're still gonna hear more, right?
Yes.
You get to hear your opinions. Cool. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Have a good day.
Bye.
Night,
buddy.
evening, whatever you're doing.
And guys, be sure to follow Shay on his channel, XEI Gaming. Link will be in the video description. Trust me, you won't be disappointed. So, like we were saying about the game, I do think this is going to be a good one. And how about you, ladies? Where's your thoughts on this?
I mean, I mentioned it in Hark's video that, like,
Yes.
you know, like I said, these games are important to me. Not just something I enjoy. It's something important to me. And I feel like I agree with what Shay said. Like a lot of people really underestimate the power of a fandom that is really interested in the lore of a game.
Yeah.
Look at the Five Nights at Freddy's games. You know, how many of those are there?
Yes.
Like, and this is a relatively simple. It started off as a relatively simple game. You get jump scared by monsters, but people latched onto it like crazy because of these little threads of lore that they found. And look at where it took them. So when you have something like Dragon Age, where the lore is so rich, and I've heard people say this, and I agree. We love Baldur's Gate 3. But the lore did not grab us as much as Dragon Age did. You know, like I love the game.
Yeah.
I love the game. It's fantastic. But the lore did not grab me as much as Dragon Age did. So like I think, you know, there's always going to be naysayers online.
Yeah.
I see plenty of them every day on Twitter. There's plenty of people, you know, being all negative and stuff. For the standard things, every single game that's come out, people have complained about the new art style. People have complained about, you know, combat style or whatever. People complain about the companions. People calling it woke. People doing all of this stuff.
Yeah.
But like when you look past all that, you have a lot of people who have been waiting for this for 10 years.
Yeah.
And nothing any negative person on Twitter says is going to make me change my mind about buying this game day one. You know, I will pre-order it if that becomes an option.
Oh, it is an option. I've already pre-ordered. I'm not even joking. I mean, it's fully paid for.
All right.
I see that look that Callista's giving. It's like, let me open up Steam right now.
I'm just like, let me just do a sneaky little search.
Yes.
Steam.
No.
Yeah, it is on Steam.
Steam is already open for me. Let me.
Right. But look,
you know your wish list.
Yeah,
you know your wish list.
Put it on your wish list, but also, guys, it's Steam native, so you don't have to use the EA app for any of that.
Oh, thank
stuff.
God!
Right? Like that is
yes.
such a boon. I've never had to use the EA app because, like I said, my first game was Inquisition, but I've seen Hart struggle with it on his Let's Plays. I hear lots of people complain about it, and like this game doesn't have those microtransactions or any of that. So I think BioWare, I'm talking about the true developers at BioWare, they listen to us and they want to give us the best experience. And with that said, I mean, it's almost like the only way this game will fail if the devs just didn't give a damn and they were just trying to make a check. because we all know this means a lot to the company. But I don't want to cut off Callista because I kind of dove in while you were doing your sneaky investigations.
Plus, I am looking forward to Veilguard. I wouldn't be here if I wasn't looking forward to Veilguard. To be brutally honest, if I was
Real
just
talk.
Veilguard, like I wouldn't be sat here right now. I think what Roma was saying, Dragon Age means so much to so many people.
Absolutely.
I'm like Dragon Age Origins was the first ever RPG I played. I don't think I had even heard of Dungeons and Dragons. And that first playthrough affected me so much.
Mm-hmm.
I won't go into the full story, I'll just kind of recap it. Prior to playing Dragon Age Origins, I had only ever played The Sims and Pokemon. Like, that was my entire gaming experience. I got Dragon Age Origins, I was 16, because my parents did not pay any attention to the 18 years and older sticker. And I was like, thank you, parents.
Right.
Thank you for that. And so because I had only ever played, The Sims on PC, I played Origins like it was a Sims game.
Yeah.
I jumped in to the City Elf Origin, and I was paying so little attention, I didn't know what had happened to Shiani. That is how I was playing it like a Sims game. So I was like, oh, Shiani, why are you on the floor? Whatever, like completely way over my head, in the line with, where you're talking to Kaylin, and you can outright say, like, I killed an Arl's son because he raped my friend. I remember picking that and not connecting the dots. They just missed each other completely in the wind.
Yeah.
I was just like, that's a funny line.
Yeah.
And then over the course of the game, I started paying attention. And I got like, oh, they said this, and I remember in the codex entry, this was and I started putting lore pieces together. And by the time I returned to the alienage at the very end of the game, I remember looking around and thinking, my character makes absolutely no sense. Who is this monstrosity I have created? Oh God, that's what happened to Shiani. Like 50 hours after the fact, it hit me what had happened to Shiani, and I was just like, my God, my heart.
Yeah.
And the credits rolled, and I felt awful. I was like, this story I have told makes no sense. I can't explain why my character did X, Y, and Z. This doesn't feel like my game. And it wasn't because of anything the game had done. It was because of me being an asshole.
Right.
Just, that was it. And so I was like, right, I'm loading it up again, and I'm going to play this like an RPG because I now know what an RPG is.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, oh my God, I love my heart. I love it so much. And so, like, Dragon Age Origins had such a massive impact on how I play games to this day. How I interpret an experience is based on that one playthrough where I didn't understand what had happened to Shiani, and I still feel like a dick because of it. And just the entire it means so much to me. So on some level, I'm like, yo, they could present me with anything. But this, like, literally, Epler could come to my house and be like, here is the Veilguard. And he handed me a dog turd. And I would be like, oh, yes. Like, I'd be like, it's in a case in my living room, just like this, like with a little flag that says the Veilguard sticking out of it. And I'd be happy. I would be crying over that dog turd every single goddamn day. Like, on some level, I acknowledge this about myself. At the same time, I'm trying to be like, no, don't accept the dog turd. Don't accept it. Reject that gift. I've been burned one too many times by games that I really looked forward to, and I was like, oh, it's gonna be great, and it's like, oh no, it is just a dog turd.
Yeah.
It is literally just this. Oh no. So I'm trying to temper my expectations. I'm desperately trying, but I want it to be good. I just want it desperately. Please, at the very least, be good. Just please.
Yeah.
That is the power. That is the power of the individual player's experience, though.
Yes.
Like that is the power of it, and I feel like a lot of people underestimate that.
Yeah.
You know, like I have told Callista, there's a moment in Mass Effect 3, which I haven't told her about yet, that was I was very affected me pretty deeply, and still to this day gives me a soft spot for a certain character that is pretty unpopular in the fandom. But that's the power of the individual person's experience. Like, no matter what everyone else thinks about it, there's something about this experience that I had that no one else can have, that gives me a different perspective, that gives me a different viewpoint of something. And multiply that by all of these different moments, those of us who played Origins and experienced their first same-sex relationship, or experienced their first RPG, or experienced, or even if it wasn't even that deep, if it was just the first time I tried dual wielding, for the first time, every person who's played these games, there's a reason, there was something that spoke to us about this experience, and there's a reason why so many of us are coming back, no matter what the naysayers say, no matter how the art style looks. Like, you could give me a black and white drawn sketch on pencil, and it's like, well, if the story's good, I don't care.
Exactly. Oh my god, yes.
Roma, I sent you a message. Could you respond to it, please? I want to know if I'm correct on this guess.
Okay. You are wrong.
Oh, I'm wrong. Is it the? It's between him and another. It's between them and another character that I have in my head, but I'm entirely sure it's one of the two that I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Not expecting that one, but
yeah.
But yeah, like I definitely have a lot of very, very positive memories of a lot of BioWare games. I don't have as many with Dragon Age as I do with Mass Effect, because that's a special interest of mine.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of what I remember, a lot of the things I love about Dragon Age are like Mass Effect is a lot about one specific person and their impact on the people and the galaxy around them. It's about Shepard's impact on their crew and what they do, and you don't really know anyone outside of Shepard's interactions with the galaxy.
Yeah.
Like, you see so few people outside of that. While in Dragon Age, you have the Hero of Ferelden stuff, you have Hawk stuff, you have the Inquisitor stuff, and now you'll have your Rook stuff. And all of them have very different like experiences and interact with very different people across the entirety of the world of Thedas, not just Ferelden or Ley. They're in other places too, which is why I really like what I see in there and how much more variety you get in the main character and the people they interact with and the places they see and the people that they may or may not have to fight at some point. It's very much a case of I liked what I got more. I like that I got more overall experiences in Dragon Age, because I got to see my Hawk with their brother, who gets called out so often in Dragon Age 2. If you've ever played Dragon Age 2 with Carver, was your brother, instead of playing it with what was his name? Bethany. They were playing it with Bethany. Oh, poor Carver gets dragged just constantly. It's so funny. But like, I loved that about it, because in Mass Effect, it's just you're Shepard. Like, everyone knows who Shepard is, and Shepard's this galaxy-wide renowned person. Yeah. And they all seem to treat you differently, because you don't really get what it's like being a normal person in the Mass Effect universe, what it's like just living in Mass Effect. You get that a little bit more with Hawk, and a little bit with the Hero of Ferelden in their origin stories, or when they're just strolling around Ferelden trying to find something. And you get more of a normal layman's experience with those games than you do with Mass Effect, where you are this hero that has not necessarily been chosen but has been forced into this role. And it's there's a lot more intriguing things and a lot more intriguing relationships in Dragon Age, which is why I still stick with it and will still stick with it even into Veilguard, where you get probably less of the interactions with lay people. And it's and like Rook is definitely not going to be a lay person. Like, they're going to be someone, they're not going to be the specially chosen person, which is what they've said. They're not going to have them be the chosen one, but they're still going to be different in some way, shape, or form. It's not just going to be, I accidentally walked into a meeting room at the wrong time and now I've got a hand that glows, like the Inquisition. But,
Yeah. What they call it, magical MacGuffin?
Yeah, magical MacGuffin,
Yeah, no. I can totally agree with what all of you are saying, because Mikey, I'm like you. I
my first RPG I experienced was actually Mass Effect. Now, mind you, I'm far older than everyone here, so this was many moons ago. Remember 2009 and those years before? That's what we're talking about. When I first played Mass Effect, it was the first time I played a game where I could shift the color of the skin to look like me. And that was the first time I experienced a game like that. So I know what you're talking about, Roma, and same for all of us. You know, it's something. You know, and my first romance was Dr. Liara Tassoni, because what's wrong with you if you don't? You know, I don't know. It was something about that experience and able to see the hero of the story look like me, or as much as I can make him look like me with 2007 graphics. But you know what I mean? Like, playing that experience was so unique. And I had never played an RPG before that. So I was like, wait, I can make this person look like me. I can give them a backstory. I can do this. What? Like, oh my God. And then seeing how I was introduced to Dragon Age was through a YouTube video that led me into Harked, which led me to all of these beautiful people. From there, you know, playing Inquisition, and the experience I had with romancing Josephine and then also romancing Iron Bull, I don't know. This game has something magical about it. I don't know what it is. Whether you like it or you don't, Mass Effect and Dragon Age are just two of those franchises that I think will always stand the test of time when it comes to true fans that really love it. Wherever you get in, as I say, you get in where you fit in, baby. But wherever you get in and it sticks with you, because I think this game is going to stick with us, I think the Veilguard, I have faith that it won't lead us astray. Yeah. But with that said, do you guys want to talk about anything else, or are we good to close out?
One quick thing.
Go for it.
One quick thing for any haters who maybe stumbled onto this video. Call it woke all you want. It just makes me want to play it more.
Right? Because, honey, it's going to wake you the fuck up. But no, I want to personally thank each and every one of you for giving me your time and your attention to spend this, afternoon with you, morning with me, and that goes for Shay as well. I highly recommend that you do check out all of these lovely people. All of their channel links will be in the video description. As I said before, you will not be disappointed with their content, and this is why I'm a subscriber of each of their content, because I really think that they bring something unique and flavorful. And also, if you're watching my Baldur's Gate 3 Let's Play, know that it was inspired by the one, the only, Callista. Take a bow, madam. There you go. So again, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Remember to live, think, and dream big. You must choose love over fear. And if you do, more good things will come to you. But everyone, help me tell all the viewers, bye.
Bye.
Bye.